Okay, I'm going to look at number 1 for you. It looks pretty tough. Not as tough as number 2, but it looks pretty tough. Okay, what I've already written on the screen over here, I don't know if you're familiar with this method, but it's a method a lot of students like for factoring. I've taken the first polynomial, the numerator of that fraction there, and what I've done is I've written the first term right here and the last term right there, and then the two middle terms are right there. So what I have is kind of like a multiplication table for my two binomials. So looking at the first term is x cubed. Well, what two things multiply to give you x cubed? It's got to be x squared and x, so that's where I got those from. And then if this middle term is 6x squared, this has got to be 6. And if this middle term is 2x, this here has got to be, actually that's got to be 2. 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times 6 is 12. So you can see that those two binomials, x squared plus 2 and x plus 6, do multiply to give you the numerator of that fraction. So let me go ahead and write that down over here. We've got x squared plus 2 times x plus 6. Okay, on the bottom I see that 16 and 64 are both divisible by 16. So I can write 16 x squared minus 4. And I'm noticing that x squared minus 4 is a difference of squares. So let me make a mental note of that. Okay, then I'm dividing, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that division symbol, replace it with multiplication. Because when you divide fractions, you're multiplying by the inverse. I'm going to go ahead and erase this part here. Okay, that's gone. Okay, this is not an x, this is a multiplication symbol. Then I'm going to invert that. So on the top I'll have the 14x plus 28. But I'm noticing 14 and 28 are both multiples of 14. So I can write 14 times x plus 2. And then on the bottom I'll have the x squared minus 36. But that's a difference of squares, so I can write x minus 6, x plus 6. Okay, so there we have something that we might be able to simplify. One thing I notice is that x squared minus 4, like I mentioned before, that's a difference of squares. I don't think I see anything else that we could really simplify right now. So, you know, let me just erase that. X minus 2, x plus 2. Okay, so does anything cancel out? Well, we got x plus 2, x plus 2. We got x plus 6, x plus 6. Okay, I just had to pause the video for a minute. Where were we? I had canceling. Okay, so we canceled out x plus 2, x plus 2, x plus 6, x plus 6. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and rewrite it. Let me put the coefficients on the front. So I got 14 x squared plus 2. And on the bottom I got 16 x minus 2, x minus 6. Okay, and then I can reduce 14/16. They're both divisible by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I've got 7 over 8. And that looks good enough for me. Okay, so then the rest of them, I don't have time in this video for, but same idea. Factor as best you can, and then look for things you can cancel out, and things you can reduce. And don't forget when you divide, you're multiplying by the inverse, and then you will get it. Good luck.